budget and appropriations ordinance at 7 p.m. May 20th, 2014. Shall I please call the roll?
Riley.
Here.
Boyles.
Here.
Callahan.
Here.
Tillman.
Here.
Gray.
Here.
Okay, so I would like to then open the floor for public comment regarding our budget and appropriations ordinance, which is our annual ordinance required by statute to adopt a budget. You want to say a few words, Rita, as to what our current status is and the things we've done up to this point to get here?
Okay, what's before you today is the budget and appropriation ordinance. Last month, you approved the budget in April. There have been 3 amendments since then. I will have Allison talk about that a little bit later once I'm done. But this is a budget for only the 8-month year as a reminder. We are going into a calendar year. Therefore, this is only from May 1st until December 31st. So it has been adjusted for any type of programming changes and even, normal 12-month expenditures like utilities that are actually only going to be down to 8 months. And then I'll have Allison explain the 3 increases compared to the original ordinance.
Yes, I did send a memo to all of the board members and copy of legal. The amount on the B&A ordinance is $25,500 higher than the posted B&A. And this increase is reflected in the quarry line due to unexpected repairs to open the facility. And those repairs are to the lift station, the electric panel, and the Andrea Well deck.
Any further comment before I open up the floor for public comment? Anyone wishing to address the board tonight on our ordinance?
Yep, Yvonne Dinwiddie, 1156 Pine Street, Batavia. I reviewed the budget, and I want to commend you for trying to hold the line on expenses. I like the looks of the budget, the way you've outlined you've given us a lot more detail than we get from the school district, which is, I'm glad to be able to say something nice.
So are we, Yvonne.
Thank you.
Who replaced Yvonne?
Oh, I'm still here. Anyway, and this in no way reflects on the employees of the Park District, so I want you all to know that. The Park District employees have been nothing but great. And so when I bring this up, it's mainly administrative. And it all goes to the Park Board because you guys are the ones who make the policy, and they're just stuck enforcing it. So give them a little bit of a pat on the back there. Anyway, as far as taxes are concerned, I realize that you put in the budget that the tax revenues are going to be down because the housing values have gone down. And I just wanted to explain that when housing values go down, our taxes still don't go down. We still get tax increases. When housing values go up, we still get tax increases. So it doesn't matter which way the values go, we still have to pay for increases in taxes. Not only that, but we have increases in electric, gas, water, and telephone, all the utilities, everything, food, gasoline, everything is going sky high. So while the taxing bodies can get an increase and can tax and levy to the max, which most taxing bodies do because of the glitch that says if we don't levy to the max, we lose that money. We can't get it back, which I don't think is right. But when you do that, you levy to the max, you have the ability to make up that tax revenue, but when you make it up, we're losing because though our property values have gone down, we have to pay more in taxes. So we need to have a change. We need to have a change in the way the system is levied, the way taxes are levied on the people, and the way these things are going. Traditionally, the board members and the school board members and the city council members don't trust the citizens to levy only what you need and then trust us to give you more if you need it. And you can always regain whatever it is you lost by referendum. You're only limited to the tax cap to the extent that you don't have a referendum. So if you levy only what you need and give the taxpayers a break, when you really need it, we're going to remember that. And when you come back to us and you say, look, we really need this is what's going on, and you give us a document like that, that gives us some real insight as to what you're doing and how you're spending our money, I can assure you, we're not all greedy bums, and we're going to give you what you need. So I'm asking for you to understand that when our property values go up, we are taxed, and so are you if you own property in Illinois, on what we call unrealized capital gains. That means we haven't gotten a dime for those property values going up. All we've gotten is an additional expense. So if we could instill some, I would guess the way to put that would be super fiscal responsibility, and keep the levies down to only what you need, and have the people saying, wow, we really need to support the park district or the school district or whatever, I think you'll find that people are going to be a whole lot more friendly. So I hope, if it doesn't make sense, you can ask me questions. I'll try to make it in terms that you'll understand. But that's what I'm asking, is if you could possibly, change the way. And the power of one says, if one starts, others will follow. So if you can do it, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What is our maximum cap rate?
The max cap rate is based upon fund, what levy line item there is. Some funds are capped, some are not. The two that are not capped would be special rec and bond and interest.
Well, where are we at with respect to the max?
I would have to look that up and get back to you because I don't have that in front of me.
Okay.
Can I tell you what it is? It's 2.875%, or of EAV, or an aggregate of 5.75%.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would like for the next board meeting to know where we are, what we've asked for, where we're at with respect to what we can ask for, if you will, to
address that
Yeah, to address that question. So appreciate your comments. Thank you. Anyone else? Carl? Okay. Seeing no other questions, I will close the floor for public comment. Any further comments by staff before we close the public hearing? No? Okay, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing at 7:08.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Foils. Any further discussion by the board? Shelley, please call the roll.
I need to, I appreciate your comments. You're a friend of the city, friend of the park district, friend of the schools, and I think it's important. I think it's unfortunate that, you made the joke up there, but it's unfortunate that typically you're the only one that comes. That there's not a lot of other input that could be out there, but I appreciate your input. I know you're a friend of the process, so I just want to say that I appreciate it. And I'm sure that the others up here appreciate your input too.
Could I just add that there would be more people here, but those of us who attend meetings are spread pretty thin too. So there's more than one meeting going on tonight. There were other people who are going to be here. So I do talk to other people. So even though I'm the only one here, in spirit, there were a few others that are here, and a lot of others.
A lot of 26,000 people.
Yeah.
There's just a few. Yeah, so.
And I know a lot of people watch on BATV, and
So.
they tell me every time I run into them.
Yep.
I watch BATV.
So I appreciate it. I'm sure the others do.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Shelley, please call the roll.
Tillman,
Aye.
Foils,
Aye.
Riley,
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye, motion carries. So our public hearing is adjourned. So I would like to call to order our regular board meeting for May 20th, 2014 at 7:10 p.m. Hold on a second. Please call the roll.
Riley.
Here.
Boyles.
Here.
Callahan.
Here.
Tillman.
Here.
Gray. Here.
I was going to turn the gavel over to you. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, any items to be added, removed, or changed on the agenda?
There are not.
There are none, okay? Agenda as established. So I would entertain a motion to establish the consent agenda as follows. Approve the minutes for the regular board meeting of April 15th. Approve the paid expenditures, unpaid expenditures, treasurer's report, purchases, ordinance number 336, an ordinance authorizing the sale of certain surplus personal property, and an approval of the new checking account.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Foyle, second by Tillman. Any further discussion? Shelley, please call the roll.
Boyles.
Aye.
Tillman.
Aye.
Riley.
Aye.
Gray. Callahan.
Aye. Motion carries. So I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as established.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Foyles. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is item number 7, guests matters from the public. Anything else? Okay, fair enough. If you're going to give me an opportunity. Very good, thank you. Okay, number 8 is matters from the commissioners.
I have one.
Well, before you go, anybody else, any comments? Weather's supposed to be nice this weekend.
Good. Yes.
Good day, good way to
Opening
open the
weekend for
quarry.
the quarry.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, this is the year to be open Memorial Day. It ought to be a huge day.
Water's gonna be a little chilly, but
It's okay.
a little chilly. But that's okay, that's why it's gonna be a warm day. Gotta cool off somehow. All right. So no other commissioner comments? Then I'm looking very much forward to Commissioner Riley's presentation.
Please
So
don't build this up too much. It's
come
just
on.
It's just a,
It's a song and dance, correct?
an overview.
That's good.
Okay, well, thanks for this, this opportunity. This is something that I think that we should be aware of. It could be a good thing for us. So thanks for, I'll just take like 5 minutes. And so the purpose of this presentation is to introduce this concept of Project Play. And I'm certainly not an expert. I just want to relay what I heard at the conference in January, which I was intrigued about, and now it's getting some legs, and so I think it could have some impact. And Allison, you received, I think, a notice a little bit about this program. But as I was sitting in January at the conference, they were talking about this Project Play, which I'll get into just real briefly in slides coming up. I was thinking about the possible benefits to the Batavia Park District. And some of the benefits are that there are going to possibly some new ideas for programming. It can put us on some leading edge research that we can possibly use to enhance our own programming, as well as for the residents to give them more information about physical activity, diet, and just general how to play constructively. Expand the role of the Park District, as I just mentioned. Position us as more of a thought leader, looking into the future of what can happen to help our residents. Learn more about physical activity and how it can be a lifelong journey and not just when you're a teenager or a youth. And then there's possible, and I'm maybe projecting a little bit on this, is there could be some grant money to help us do some of these things, maybe enhance some of our programming and expand that, which then could be used for our residents. And then last, talk about this Illinois Youth Sports Summit, which kind of like prompted the whole reason for this presentation. So,
Space bar. Get at the space bar.
oh, okay. So, at the conference, at the Illinois Association of Park District Conference, the Illinois Park and Recreation Association Conference, which is in January, they have all those breakout sessions, and I think this is a real value to going to these, to go into the sessions. And I've been to 3 now, and I've gotten something. Every time I've gone to a breakout session, I've gotten something because I've gone to the ones I was interested in. But staff's gone to these. I've seen you in all of these presentations, and I think you're getting something out of it. You're always talking about coming out of these. And so, the time we spend down there, I think is very valuable. And this is one thing. And Allison, certainly gave us some publicity, and regarding the state, being the chair of with the Illinois Parks and Recreation Association for the last year. So I think all this is really good for us. And so, this is one aspect, one example of how taking something and it could lead us into something really great. So this Lawrence Chaplin, PhD, he's University of Illinois. He's sort of leading this policy in Illinois. And so the overarching umbrella organization is the Aspen Institute, and it's been around for a long time, sort of like a think tank. And so it's an educational policy study organization. It's based in DC, and the mission is to foster leadership based on values, enduring values, nonpartisan. And so, from what I heard in the presentation, I looked a little bit online about them, is that what they do is they look at different issues worldwide as well as in the United States. They bring experts together, they have roundtables, and they talk about the issues and what can be done to solve them. And then they go back out into wherever they're at, and then they start to implement these things. And then they create a network and best practices so they can try to make the world a better place. Project Play in 2013 was started because of obesity, kids dropping out of sports, and they have some evidence of these different things. And then kids being funneled into like the big 4 sports. You have football, baseball, basketball, and soccer. And so if you don't want to play one of those sports as a youth, you're kind of like left off to the side to fend for yourself. And so they want to try to bring those kids into other sports, and they mention like Olympic type of sports, to get them going in gymnastics or other things that they can do other than just being in the top or the big 4 sports. So that's what the Project Play is. That's one of their initiatives to do. So, and their initial pillars, what they talked about is getting people involved, having trained coaches, more than just volunteer coaches. Have volunteers, but really train them in what they're coaching, and give them some more information about nutrition and more information just about how kids learn and why they're playing sports. And also knowledgeable parents, so that parents are knowledgeable about why their kids are playing, and so they don't get so fanatical on the sidelines. Sufficient places. You have to have an environment that encourages sports, and also healthy living and diet. And then programming, that are age appropriate, especially like with football, so you don't have a 12-year-old that's 150 pounds playing a 12-year-old that's 100 pounds, and so they're trying to equalize and get things so that all the kids can enjoy what they're doing. The short list that they've been working on since 2013, encourage a wide range of sampling of sports, and this is when they talked about other than just the big 4 sports, offer other things, help athletes find a way to transfer skills. They're really concerned about specialization early on. and it's really not a healthy thing. I'm sure we all know about that. You get kids to play different sports as a youth, maybe if they want to specialize later on, in their teens, but as a youth, experiment and play a lot of different sports, and not just the big four. A lot of free play, not so much parent-dictated sports. And John, I think you have something like that going with the basketball. Batavia Youth Football is trying to do something like that. So we may actually be like on the leading edge of what Project Play is trying to do. So we might be able to help them move their agenda along. And then modified sports, I think soccer does this pretty well. As youth, you can play 4-on-4, you can play 6-on-6, you can play in a restricted area. In baseball, you don't need maybe 9 players, just play with an infield. For the youth level, and they still get a lot of activity. So the one thing that I found really intriguing about this, you can always have an initiative, but unless you have, some financial backing or some big thought leaders, it's really not going to go anywhere. And I was pretty impressed. There's 6 organizations. They're pretty well known. Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, you have Nike, the Clinton Foundation, and then there's ESPN, University of Florida, the David and Lucille Packard Foundation. All these organizations have dedicated them. They're dedicating a portion of their thought and their resources behind Project Play, and each one is providing something different, so it's not overlapping. So, just having those thought leaders and some of the resources they have as far as research and expertise is really going to, what I think, is going to add a lot to this Project Play as it moves along. So, in September, they're going to have this summit. They talked about it in January, and they said they're going to do something this year, and you thought, well, maybe not, but it sounds like they're really going to do something. And so they're having, as you can see, Parks and Recreation. And one thing that the professor talked about in January is that one of the things they want to try to do to keep this program, or really kick off this program, is they realize that the Parks and Recreation facilities are really where the rubber meets the road as far as youth. So they're trying to power down the thought and ideas to Parks and Recreation, because we're the ones actually interacting with kids. And if they can get the Parks and Recreation programs on board, then they might be able to really make a difference. And so that's one reason why they spoke at the conference in January. So anyway, so you can see the topics that they want to try to include, and then the folks that are going to be there. When I was there in January, I thought it was a pretty neat thing, so I signed up, or I sent my name in as a contact. Maybe I could represent us when we go down. And then I think, Allison, you got an invite. I called to try to see, maybe, did you get one? Good. So you're going? Yeah, great. So I tried to get some other, but apparently they're all, I don't know how many people they're inviting, but they said they're booked and they couldn't, so I tried to get some more, tickets or whatever they're offering, and so I don't know how many people, have you heard how many they're going to have? Yeah, so, but if they're offering, maybe they're inviting everybody from every park district in the state. I don't know. So, but anyway, I think it's going to be good. They're going to have roundtables. I think we can share ideas. I think we have something to offer. I think we're a little progressive in a lot of areas. We might be able to learn something else, maybe to integrate nutrition into some of the activities we have. A lifelong learning of sports and enjoyment, and not maybe so much parent dictating where it drives kids out. So it may change some of the things we do, which I think would enhance our programming and help our residents, with their sport activities. So if you want some more information, you look on your own on the Nike Move. It's a great Design to Move. They have so much research on there. It's unbelievable. John, it's all the aspects of what affects a youth. As far as commercials. Commercialization to programming to facilities. It's just a wealth of information. It's all pretty new stuff. So, I think we'll see what happens in September and report back, and see where it takes us. So I just wanted to make us aware, so we are all kind of like on the leading edge of this as it goes forward, so we're not cut, in 2 years we're looking at what's going on.
That's great. Well, Kevin, thanks very much for your leadership on this. I'm really curious to find out the outcome of that summit, because that sounds like a really powerful group of people getting together talking about some important stuff. So,
Kevin, can you email me that deck?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
One of the things, I was at that same session of conference that Dr. Shaw was talking about. He says the whole group got together and kind of got off to a little bit of maybe a tangent, because he said they got together a lot of the governing bodies and the Olympic Committee and a lot of these others, and notably absent was, on the national level, NRPA did not participate in it at first. And they had a lot of people who have a lot of expertise in youth sports, but they realized that they missed the whole base of the pyramid.
Yeah.
And if you're, they can talk a lot about specialization in youth sports, and there's a lot of research that it's not a good thing to specialize too young, and that really the research says if you want your kid to be a college scholarship athlete or an Olympic athlete, they do not have to specialize at age 8. You just make them an athlete, and great.
I really like the innovative programming strategies that can come out of something like this. You talked about the free play, and I really think that Batavia has done what we can and will continue to challenge traditional thinking and be a thought leader when it comes to different philosophical ways of handling programs. And I'm really looking forward to the Sports Summit as well. After Commissioner Riley had let me know that he was interested in attending it, I received the invitation in the mail, or through email, and it was through my involvement with IPRA that they had said that they wanted me to be there. So obviously you're connected to many different group organizations. The U.S. Olympics team is also going to be inviting people there too. They're going to invite a few of us to be guest speakers there, so it's going to be really interesting. We'll put Batavia on the map again.
That's great. Wonderful. Thank you very much for doing that. Anything else? Okay. Next item on the agenda is correspondence. There's a few pieces here I want to make note of. Received a letter from Austin Dempsey of Batavia Enterprise regarding a possible TIF extension. Letter of gratitude from Carolyn Nagel and Jody
Herkus?
Perkis from the Fox Valley Special Rec regarding the Fox Valley Special Rec barbecue and basket raffle. An email from Raquel Hutchinson on the Illinois Youth Summit. How timely is that? And a thank you from Senator McConaughey for our visiting during the legislative event down at the Capitol. An email from Nancy Hubbard, third grade teacher from Grace McWayne, expressing thanks to the staff for the
Tours at the Depot.
Depot Museum. An email from Todd Stanton highlighting some recycled play equipment installed in Lebanon, Illinois. And at my place this evening was a letter from Jennifer Erickson and her third grade class at Alex Gustafson. They are doing a lesson in social studies and have addressed me, and I am going to spend the time to respond to all 6 of the third graders.
Aw. That sounds like a BATV episode.
Yeah. So very good.
Let's see what that turns out.
Next item on the agenda is announcements. Who is doing the announcements tonight?
HR manager
I'm the lucky
Jennifer.
lady.
All right. Take it away.
Thank you. First, we would like you to join us Friday, May 23rd, 10:30 a.m. to noon at our Eastside Community Center. Our Touch a Truck event was rained out last week, but we are excited to have it this Friday, 10:30 to noon. Always a fun event for our youngest Batavians. Splash into summer at Hull Quarry Beach. Be sure to take advantage of discounted rates on season passes before prices increase May 24th. Stop by the Civic Center or Eastside Community Center during regular business hours to purchase your passes. This summer, you'll see some exciting new changes at the quarry, including new concession items, more deck chairs, games and events, and new attractions, including a wiggle bridge. In addition to the new amenities, the quarry is opening Memorial Day weekend, weather pending, but it's looking great. Mark your calendars for the upcoming Super Savvy Senior Expo on Wednesday, June 4th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Eastside Community Center. This healthy living, active lifestyle event is geared toward educating and entertaining ages 50 and up. Check out the interactive exhibits in the areas of health, travel, entertainment, improving daily life, and much more. Refreshments are provided, and visitors will have the chance to win some fun prizes. For more details, including a list of exhibitors, please visit www.bataviaparks.org. Admission is free, and the first 100 visitors receive a complimentary tote bag. The River Rhapsody concert series kicks off Wednesday, June 18th, so be sure to mark your calendar and bring the family to the Riverwalk on select Wednesdays throughout the summer. The free concerts are held from 7 to 8:30 p.m. in beautiful downtown Batavia. The series will kick off with Piano Man, an Elton John and Billy Joel tribute band. For more information, please call us at 630-879-5235 or visit our website at www.bataviaparks.org. We look forward to seeing you in the parks.
Thanks, Jennifer. All right, next item on the agenda is staff reports. First, any additional information staff would like to inform the board of?
Since Jim is not here today, I have to talk.
You're
about
sitting in his chair.
I know, and therefore I have to talk about.
So is it the chair? Is it the chair?
It's the chair. It's all about the chair. Some CIP project.
And he is in her department now, so.
Yeah. So Ingstrom Park is on its way. The silk fence has been put up, and now we're waiting for approval of the fence, and construction will begin. So they are definitely ready to go. Permit's been paid. They are off to the races, and
Great.
definitely ready to move on. That's all I have.
Okay, anybody else?
Thanks, Rita, Jim. I just wanted to bring to your attention that in my board packet, every spring and fall, I work with a teacher at H.C. Storm School, Mr. Matt Stanzik. He has a couple of groups that he works with, and he brings fourth and fifth graders out and does some community service within our parks. And they pick up garbage and twigs and branches, and one year they helped out the quarry after we put the liner in and picked up all the stones. He's extremely organized. The kids love him, and we get a great group of people out. So this is a warm thank you to Mr. Matt Stanzik for organizing that with me and giving me the opportunity to work with these fine kids and help them be our future parkies. So
Way to
it
go.
was a great day.
Not all a bad thing.
No, it's great, actually. They're all very polite and very nice. I don't know if you saw the picture.
I did.
Thing, but it is awesome. They are very, very nice.
He has them write a little report afterwards too, which is really neat.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Yep, we've been working on partnerships lately. We actually met with the Bike Commission and are going to be planning some activities this fall and winter with bike maintenance courses and then some bike training 101 classes and actually training trainers. So we're looking at some staff members sending them to that so we can train some, may have some classes, and then possibly myself will be taking it also. Also, we've been working with the Chip-In and the Batavia Parks Foundation to be able to offer some junior Bulldog football camp scholarships to residents that could otherwise not be able to attend the program. So we've been working closely with that and hopefully have a nice kickoff event, get like 28 kids bused down there to the programs from
Fantastic.
It's a really neat partnership with the Chip-In folks, the school districts donating the bus. We're giving 50% scholarships. The Parks Foundation's meeting us the other 50% of the way. It's a win-win situation for those kids.
That's awesome.
So it's a good one, kind of came all together in the last week or so it's been
Super.
definitely good. And then finally I've also been working with the Bulldog lacrosse team and the River City Lacrosse, and they're going to be doing a free, it's going to be a $5 event or $25 event at Memorial Park on Wednesday, June 25th from 10:30 to noon for little ones to come out and be able to play with the big lacrosse kids. So just show them the sport.
Okay. We are so proud to be a great summer employer to the community. We have over 100 youth and adult staff that have started training really the last few weeks to get our summer programs launched. Many great applicants to choose from this year. It was very difficult choices. So those of you who were not selected this year, we encourage you to keep checking the job boards. You can find that on our website, bataviaparks.org. we're going to have some great programs this year.
Fantastic. Great.
Okay. And we're missing Carrie Miller, who is actually, there is no more Carrie Miller, it's Carrie Feldkamp. She just got married, so our new Director of Marketing and Public Relations.
Awesome.
Her name is Carrie Feldkamp, Felkamp. So,
Gotta get a new name badge before she gets back.
yep, we'll have to. Whoops.
Well, congratulations to her. Good. Board, any comments on staff reports?
I have
Or
I
questions?
guess just, I'm curious, Eric, that, this winter and I guess this hot and cold season has destroyed evergreens all over the place, and some plants and some growth. Are we seeing any, in our parks, a lot of the plants and growth just that's not coming back this year?
In your reference to the evergreens, specifically what they call the Taxus yew and then the junipers, what happened was when we had the hard frost, the ground froze very quickly. And the brown is associated to a lack of water. We didn't get the perk that we normally would get, and so they were basically suffering from hydration, lack of hydration. So we're seeing green up, and then that will get trimmed off, but we got to let some new growth come up. Some of the older ones, we had some down the quarry, they didn't make it. We've had, well, there was some areas that were sunny where we had some daffodils that did come up, but they were very small and few. And in other areas where we had nothing. So we are finding some sporadic, poor return of growth in plants, but as a whole, we haven't seen enough to be too concerned with. The nice thing about it is that some of the things that we've been dealing with is insect infestation, a lot of red leaf mites and stuff that would really defoliate trees halfway through the summer, and then with the hard freeze, we shouldn't have those problems. So we'll be able to enjoy our plants longer this year, I think. We're gonna have a pretty moist summer. Does that answer your question?
It does. I was just curious as to whether or not we would be, I want to address two things. One, whether or not we would have to do a lot of replanting, and two, stuff just isn't coming back, and just wanted to get your opinion on if it's coming back and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it does.
We're doing
Thank
pretty
you.
good.
Good.
And then with the cool and the extreme wet we've been having, our real problem is the dastardly dandelion, they're, so.
They're everywhere.
It's just,
Yeah, they
they're
are.
everywhere. And so
Some things are
that's the
really-
one plant I wish we got.
I know, that's the only thing that's growing, isn't it?
We gotta cultivate those root systems on those things for our sports turf, and then we'll be
You
fine.
gotta make salads, man.
Make great wine.
Thanks, Eric.
And we're still
Yeah.
trying to phase out our dead ash trees.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
They were a very popular plant, as you know, and we installed a lot of them, so
Yeah.
we're working on it.
All right. Any further comments from the board? Staff reports? Okay. Next item on the agenda is Executive Director's Report. Allison, anything to add?
I do. I'm pleased to announce that, in the community needs assessment, the public had spoken about how they'd like to see the Depot Museum hours expanded, especially with their, with their families, they're on the bike path. They'd like to not have to make an appointment to go into the Depot Museum, and the hours were very limited when the museum was open. So I'm pleased to announce that the Depot Museum hours will be expanded come this June 7th through August 31st. So we're currently hiring seasonal help, and the hours will be Saturdays and Sundays, 11:45 a.m. through 4:15 p.m. So we're also looking to see if that will help with the donation increase as well. But we will have trained staff on hand so they can give tours, whether there's a bus that may stop by, because we do get a lot of requests from people out of state, people out of town that want to have tours on weekends, and we can make that happen now.
Great. Board, any comments on Executive Director's Report? Questions? All right. Next item on the agenda is administrative policy discussion. We have 2 items on this agenda this evening. We have a second reading for the administrative manual regarding fixed assets. I'm assuming by now everybody's had a chance to review. All the changes have been made and updated. Legal has reviewed them, so I would entertain a motion to approve. Is there a policy number on this? Or is it just the fixed assets policy?
Actually, it's multiple,
Recording work, yeah, but usually we use a number.
we have multiple policies. We did take out the number because we are redoing the administrative manual for the distinguished accreditations. We took out those numbers.
So Dirk, how would you suggest we do this motion?
Policies as presented.
Excellent. So I would entertain a motion to approve the policies for second reading as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Gray. Any further discussion?
I guess I had one question came up as I read through this a second time.
Which policy?
And I'm trying to find it. My computer shut down, so I'm looking at the thing. But Jennifer can answer. The one policy on absences requiring doctors note if they're out 3 or more days. And then I noticed a couple pages later, the FMLA policy that requires notice if it's 4 or more than 3 days. And, I know they're 2 different policies, but I just wonder if, that gets confusing and whether more than 3 days or 3 or more, whether that would.
So they have different outcomes. The 3 consecutive days needing a doctor's note could lead to disciplinary action more so, because if you're sick without notice for 3 days without doctor's note, then it could be a questionable situation. FMLA would kick in if your doctor is saying you're gone for 4 days with his or her approval and planning for additional in the future. And that's more of a job protection, long-term, to take care of yourself.
Yeah, I guess my question is just that would it make sense that they both be the same amount of time? So, and I didn't catch that the first time through, but.
Okay. I can look into it. I think the 3-day right now is the best practice.
Yeah, that's what we're recommending, and again, they do have different, you can take the 3 days, you might have the sick days coming to you,
Yeah.
use them. Doctor's note is to make sure you're using your sick days, and then invoking FMLA should be a separate process anyway.
Okay.
So I understand your concern. It's, you're trying to keep people, but we do want invocation of FMLA to be a decision point that is deliberate and understood, so. That's not the reason we have them written that way. They're written that way to comply with statutes and best practices.
Should there be a reference between the 2 or no?
They're pretty separate.
Yeah, they need to be separate.
Okay.
FMLA kicks in when you're out of days.
Got it. Okay. All right. Is that satisfactory?
Yeah, it was just kind of
It's
sort
something
of a
that I
question
will watch
that-
moving forward with the rest of our
Yeah,
policies.
and just maybe at some point we look at it because it just may be confusing to an employee. One's more than 3 days and one's 3 or more days.
Okay.
Yeah, we do want consistency, so.
Yeah. Okay.
It's here. Anyone?
Stomach, or is that outside?
That's outside. Any further discussion?
I had one question on the hiring for residence requirements that it talks about residents will live within the district, and if you apply for a position, preference may be given to a residence in the district. And because it's kind of, it says preference, I didn't know if that could be abused in any way of giving favoritism, instead of, if you have 2 people that are fairly equal, it's really hard to judge. I mean, no one's exactly the same as the other person.
And I believe that's what it's intended for, if you have 2 otherwise equal candidates.
Right.
That if you
And-
need that swing vote, that it would
Correct.
be
If
towards.
college kid A lives in the district, college kid B doesn't.
But I guess my point is that no one is really truly equal. You may have someone living in the district who may not really have all the qualifications, but close enough. And so you say, well, let's just give it to this person because they're in the district. And, you know, I just, if it's working, fine, but I can see where it could be used where someone says, well, that's maybe not in the district, well, I was actually more qualified, and how much preference are you giving, like 50% preference because they're in, 20% preference, what's the,
It's funny you
because you're my
ask.
cousin preference, you know, that kind of thing.
I ran a report today, and we have, as of now, 50% are current 60510 residents.
What was that, what?
50% are Batavia residents.
That work.
As of today.
And Kevin, be rest assured, we're always going to hire the most qualified candidate. But in the case that, let's say that maybe one's skill sets are stronger in an area and the other candidate's skill sets are complementary to that other candidate, and it is like a swing vote, we will look at the in-house candidate or the in Batavia candidate as the stronger.
There is
Yeah.
no way to write a policy that can guard against abuse or favoritism. You're expressing in the policy what you as a board are willing to say to staff, considering your hiring decisions.
Mhm.
If you don't want them to consider residency, strike it. You should. But if the will of the board is that all things being equal, that being the judgment of the person doing the hiring, we prefer to hire a Batavia Park District resident, then leave the value in. But if it's abused, and we've dealt with that, there are other tools to deal with the abusive situation where you're trying to do favoritism. We have another policy on there tonight about nepotism, for example, and we've tried to put some clarity around that because there hasn't been clarity around the nepotism policy here in the district,
Yeah, I saw
and it's
that.
led to issues that and we're trying to correct. So, so this part of it is really just what values do you want staff to be able to articulate to themselves when doing an interview. We've got the directive that, you know, there's not to be favoritism, it's supposed to be on value and all the rest, but is this one of the values they can consider?
Mhm.
And not everybody includes it, so it's a fair question for the five of them as to whether or not to include a local preference.
No, and I agree, and I think we should hire people that are local, that are within the, you know, that live in the district, that use our park district, maybe. And when, to me, it just seemed, you know, is there a question where it could be questioned by the person who wasn't selected outside, where they could sue or something, you know, along those lines? We're like, in like the VA, which is probably not a good topic right now, but, you know, they have like a point, you get 5 points if you're a, you know, a vet, or you're 5 points if you're, you know, there's actually a point system to quantify it. So I don't know if that's going too far with what we're doing, or just as it's written is fine.
The, around federal jobs like the VA, there are constitutional due process rights because as soon as you have it, it's a governmental property right, so all that stuff kicks in. Your part-time jobs come with that at a lesser degree. So having this listed as a value tells everybody this is the process, and no one can complain because it's articulated in your policy.
Okay.
If we were using local versus non-local, or resident versus non-resident, and you hadn't articulated in the policy, then we're open to possible problems with liability process. Using values you haven't articulated. If you've articulated it, staff's entitled to rely on it and use it in their best judgment.
Okay. Good.
As long as we don't invade a protected class. It's an,
Yeah.
I mean, you're touching on, and I mean, we give seminars on this stuff because they're precisely the questions you're touching on. I wish there were simple answers. There aren't. There are complicated ones. You can't obviously give preference for a protected class. We can't say, you know, we prefer women to men, or we prefer, all things being equal, we'll take the woman over the man. You can't do that. Gender's a protected class.
Sure.
Same for religion, ethnicity, you know, so.
Does that satisfy your?
Good, yeah.
All right, great. So, any further discussion? Shelley, please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Gray.
Aye.
Riley. Riley.
Here. I was talking to.
She's asking you yea or nay.
Yeah.
Whoa. Boyles.
Aye.
Callahan.
That's not good. That's not going to do very nice for cars, is it?
I know.
Oh, wow.
What? Oh, my gosh. That's not good.
Eric, you want to revise
They just brought in-
how healthy the landscaping is right now? No.
Just brought in hail.
What did you say, marble size hail?
Oh, my
That's bigger than
gosh.
that.
Bigger than that?
Show that to the camera.
Coming down,
Oh, my goodness.
slowing down.
Did you put the big cover over my car while you're out there?
Did mine first, I didn't know.
Okay, all right, well, just asking.
Motion carries. Okay, the second policy item on the agenda is our administrative and governance policies, and I'm asking, I mean, obviously, we all review these annually as these things come through, but this is a pretty significant change to these policies, and this is our first reading, so really it's an opportunity for, you to just take it and understand it, read it, and provide some feedback. But I'm going to ask for each of the board members specifically to provide some feedback. If it's, hey, looks fine to me, that's great. Back to me by the 6th of June, or your comments, so we can make sure that we get all this stuff wrapped up before it goes into the next board packet. But I would like a record of the board members having had a chance to formally review this, so.
Yes, there's some significant changes to past practices and effort to get some clarity.
Yeah.
And also match up with best practices. Some of it's motivated by distinguished agency and what they consider best practices. Some of it's motivated by case law, and some of it's motivated by trying to make it function better here.
Sure.
In the governance manual, just to clarify, a lot of those are coming from the legal and.
Sure.
Whereas administrative policies are coming from staff.
Right, but these are, changes in the iterations we've done in years past, and these, I think they're very healthy, they're good. I think we should obviously, give them very serious consideration, but I just want to make sure that each board member has an opportunity to review it and have some level of feedback. And again, even if it's, hey, I read it, looks fine to me, I'm good with that, but I'd like to have it on record. All right.
And also just a little note that on page 21 of those policies, the board will need to determine the period of which time to designate a vacant office.
All right.
There is no statutory?
No, it's a function of intent. I'm sorry, did you have it right?
No, there was something, later on though, it talks about after the president and the director have met with but that's if the commissioner hasn't been attending meetings.
You
Okay,
can
sorry,
put-
it's different.
You can put in I would encourage you to do a no less than. You'll start to consider it after a certain gap of time. But it's about intent, because the vacancy, it's a function of election law and some of the other stuff. So there are constitutional protections built around the choices. Health care, medical reasons, those kinds of things. So that's why there's no bright line rule about it. It's a
Okay.
function of intent.
Yeah, I know that I've spoken with other Park District Board presidents who have faced this issue in the past, and it's challenging when you have an individual, for whatever reason, whether it's personal circumstances, they, have an axe to grind, whatever the case may be, and, they choose to vacate their seat at the public meetings, and it just makes it more difficult for the board to conduct their business. So, anyway, give that some serious consideration as to what we believe would be deemed
Well, and
appropriate.
remember that there's now a constitutional case law that says, absent a written resignation, you have to go through the process of finding and booting them because of the even if you got up and said, I'm sick of you, Price, and you got up and I resign, and you walked out, it's not effective until you submit something in writing to the president. So you get to come back next meeting and say,
Just kidding.
So that's
Thank you.
why it's all loosey-goosey, because as an elected official, you have vested rights in your position.
Very good.
Did you want to, for the sake of, for next month, to determine a period no less than? Or
Well, I guess I'd like to have that included in the June 6th responses, to give us some suggestion as to what the board members think, what that should be, and then we can have a discussion at it next meeting. Okay? Great.
Can I be copied on the email?
Oh, absolutely. No, absolutely. So next item on the agenda is new business, which which we just talked about, the second policy, first reading. Next item on the agenda is 15B, approval of the ordinance number 335, budget and appropriations. Any further comment on that from staff?
We covered it all.
Well, I do want to say, and Yvonne, I appreciate your comments on the level of detail that we provided, and the staff did an outstanding job in presenting that information to the board, and I want to thank all of you for the time and effort to do that. I realize that's not easy, but part of understanding what our needs are really drilling in and understanding what we offer the community and how we can shave costs and how we can take advantage of our limited resources, minimize increases in programming expenses, minimize what we can, and then obviously, bring forth a budget that we think is appropriate to have the agency advance for delivering the services the community has come to expect. And so I want to thank you all for your time, energy, and effort on that. So.
Thank you. And just be rest assured that staff are still in the process of cost containment and tightening the belt wherever we can.
And I realize this was particularly difficult because of our shift from a calendar year, now shifting to a calendar year and trying to parse out what 8 months is going to look like, and tax receipts and expense from programs and so on and so forth. That it was particularly hard, but I think it'll really pay off, because I do think shifting from our April 30th to May 1st to a January 1st to December 31st year, like most people, will really help us be a little more disciplined and be able to organize ourselves a little easier. And so I know that was an extra hurdle you had to jump over. So again, kudos for you for that. So without any further discussion, at least at this point from staff, I would entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 335, budget and appropriations, as presented this evening.
So moved.
Whoa. So I'm going to give a motion by Tillman, a second by Riley. Any further discussion? Shall I please call the roll?
Tillman.
Aye.
Riley.
Aye.
Foils.
Aye.
Gray.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is nominations and elections of board officers. This is our annual election of board officials, officers, and board appointments. And so I will read the slate as presented in our board packet. President, Pat Callahan. Vice President, John Tillman. Treasurer, Gary Foils. Secretary, Kevin Riley. Deputy Secretary, Tara Gray and Gary Foils. Executive Director, Allison Niamella. Attorney, Ansel Glink. Dirk, can't we put your name in there?
Yeah, it's the firm, actually. It's fine.
I'm just teasing.
You want the insurance trust.
Fox Valley Special Rec Board of Directors would be Allison Niamella, Amber Smith, Alex, how do you pronounce your last name? Breedis, and Jennifer Brugman. Parks Foundation, Allison Niamella, Ryan McCauley, and Tara Gray. So I would entertain a motion to approve the slate for the fiscal year 2014-15 board officer and appointments as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Gray. Any further discussion? Shelley, please call.
Right, well, I just had a question on whether, and this is sort of the last year or two, on the board appointments of the director and the attorney, since those things are covered by contracts, is it something we really need to do as part of this process?
There's old case law that says you should, yes. So, and
Good enough answer.
Right, our contract is, both of our contracts are at will. I mean, there's, in the case of the director, there is, you can terminate our services any time. There's consequences, but not so with us. It's terminable anytime, and so.
So this doesn't really do much anyway.
It doesn't do a lot.
Except
Although
obviously,
it is, I have had to produce the ordinance once in my time here for a title insurance company who didn't believe we were appointed and had the authority to do anything. So, okay.
Okay, fair enough.
Any further discussion? Shelley, please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Gray.
Aye.
Riley.
Aye.
Foils.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is Fox Valley Special Rec Association.
Were you going to vote on that?
Yeah, actually, then we have to
You were gonna
select
vote on
for the,
deputies.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's right.
Fox Valley Special Rec.
So we've approved now
Approve the slate. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. So, entertain a motion to approve slate?
vote though.
Some of them we have to vote on.
I was just going to say a little bit about the Fox Valley Special Rec Board of Directors. If I could.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
I currently serve as the, on the Fox Valley Special Rec Board of Directors, and every other agency that is a member of Fox Valley Special Rec has their executive director serve, except for St. Charles, but the board is getting ready to nominate or appoint their executive director to the board. And then usually, how it's been traditionally, it doesn't mean that we have to do it that way, but traditionally it's been the recreation director that would serve as the substitute. At least how I've seen it. The other agencies, Sugar Grove, Geneva, Fox Valley, they're all members of Fox Valley Special Rec too.
Okay. Well, I thought I announced the slate, and then we just voted on the approval of the slate, did we not?
You did.
Okay.
But like for Fox Valley, we need to,
You pick
Okay.
a primary and a secondary.
we've approved 4 of them.
Okay.
Only 2 that get.
So who would like to,
So we don't vote.
What do
Do you want me to do a
what-
silent vote and then
what
I
are we
can
trying to
call
do?
them and then announce, or do you want them?
well,
You just did the slate and candidates. I thought we were done.
Right, what are we trying to?
You don't
what are we-
have
Fox Valley.
In terms of voting,
Okay.
we
Fox
don't-
Fox Valley Special Rec, we need to appoint 1 representative and 2 substitutes, and there's 4 people listed.
But we actually just entered all 4 in, so they should be able to determine who goes on their own.
Yeah.
Great.
Because we just put a slate in of all 4 of them and approved that and voted on it.
Because we don't want to obligate staff to
Right.
any additional time, so you can obligate them.
Exactly. That's up to
All that lobbying didn't
Don't
work
look at me
out.
like that. I work for them.
But then deputy secretary, who would, so it's either or?
Actually, I thought we had talked, didn't we talk about
I said
doing-
cage match where we
Didn't we
want.
talk about, didn't we talk about having 2? Or was it assistant treasurer? Didn't we talk about having 2 positions? I forget exactly what we did.
Last year I was the deputy secretary, and I didn't remember until this year to work on this again. Kevin's always in attendance, so we always have a secretary.
Pretty much. But I mean, there's a possibility I won't be here at some point, you know, I mean, I'll miss some, for something.
So,
Tara's certainly welcome too.
Tara, I think
I'd love to have.
Gary just, you
I
know,
think he just
you just
voted you in.
You got it.
Remember your job descriptions in the new business underneath in the governance manual.
Bold initiative. Gary sees the initiative.
Fair enough.
You're out.
Okay, we good?
All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
excellent, thank you. So, next item, Fox Valley Special Rec.
Yes, as you read in the correspondence, $21,000 was raised in the Fox Valley Special
Outstanding.
Foundation
Very
barbecue.
good.
And they were good.
Delicious pork chops.
So thank you for your support.
Our pleasure. Anything else? And we have no reason for executive session this evening, correct? All right, well then I want to entertain a motion to adjourn our regular meeting at 8:03.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Foyle, second by Tillman. Shelley, please call the roll.
Boyles.
Aye.
Tillman.
Aye.
Riley.
Aye.
Gray.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye, we are adjourned. Thank you very much for coming.